Hello, Chris.
How you going, mate?
Good. Neil Waters.
How you going, bud? All right?
Yeah, very good, very good. Now's a good time?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I just finished making a heap of bloody relish up. Rhubarb relish. It's not bad. It's not bad on for pizza's basis.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and City Palmies, yeah. No, just put that with onion and heap of sugar and stuff and boil it.
Yeah, no, I was tortured as a child with rhubarb by my mother, so I've never really been fond of it.
I understand now. I was the same with King George White and growing up in Moona Bay. We had to eat that nearly every night, and it's like everyone loves it, but it's the most expensive fish out, and it's like, nah, can't eat it anymore.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's what you get used to, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're in Tassie.
I was down past Snoke for a bit, down near Flower Pot. Now I'm up in Kingston, but I lived up in Cairns for 24 years, but I grew up in Moona Bay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, born in northern suburbs, born in Elizabeth, and when we were about 5 years old, the oldies moved up on the Yorke Peninsula there.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up there. I was probably in my teenage years sort of thing, 21. My family's still there.
Yep. My great-great-great-grandfather's buried at the Moona Cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
They were woodcutters for the copper mines.
All right. Some Mallee.
Yeah, back in the day when there were still trees on Yorke Peninsula.
Yeah. There's not much of it there now, but yeah. No, my granddad wanted to get buried there. That was his last dying wish. Yeah, the aunties, they lived down in Elizabeth Smithfield area, so he's down in the Smithfield Cemetery. Yeah, so he used to call it the Pines. He said, where I want to go to the Pines.
Oh, yeah, out near Corny Point.
Oh, no, that's what he used to call the Moona Cemetery, because you got all the pine trees.
Oh, yeah, all the native pines there, yeah.
Yeah, around it, yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, I was watching the show the other night, and I thought, I think I'd give you guys a bloody... tell you what I saw,
So, what year was it when you had your first sighting?
Well, I'm trying to work it out. I'm 48 now, right? 48, 49, and I was around... First one was the one at night, and I seen him when I was about 18.
Okay.
Not 18, 19. Yeah, it was quite a while ago. And then it was probably about 4 years after that where I seen the one in broad daylight, which no matter what, it's like, mate, I could have thrown a tennis ball quite easily at it. It's right there. It actually shocked the shit out of me, But I seen on Good Morning Australia. Did you see that one that was spotted from the Mooter school teacher? Yeah,
that was Paul Day's video back in 2017.
Yeah, well, I don't actually know him, but when I seen that on the morning show, I'm like 100%, mate. That's one, because I've seen two in the area.
Yeah. He lives sort of south of Moota, right on the edge of town.
So he's on the mainland side, going towards Maitland.
Yeah, sort of out past that road that goes past Ryan's Shaft.
Oh, so he's out Moona Mines.
Yeah, out the back of there, yeah.
Yeah. See, well, if he's seen one out the back of there, my first sight was on the Parsky cut track, so it would have been the left of it, probably, another 30 k's from that spot.
Yep.
And then the other one would have been on the right of another 30 k's from that spot. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So when you saw the first one, were you on your own?
No, me and my mate were driving back from Adelaide.
Okay.
And we turned on the Parsky cut track. There's a cut track when you go through Parskyville. You go past where they have the field days, showgrounds, on the way to Canina, and there's that left turn that goes back to Moona. It used to be dirt.
Yep, I know the one.
Now. Yeah, it was in between the first, where you turn onto that, and if you go down that track about halfway, you'll get the road that cuts from Kadina down to Arthurton, and then sort of it's a T-junction you turn. It was before that. It was about halfway down the track on the right-hand side.
Okay.
First, that was the second one that I seen in broad daylight, and it was the hay was cut, so you had the stubble, and I reckon it would have had to been probably around Easter time. You know, it was before winter. It was, and they hadn't cut the hay. They cut the wheat, but there was just all the stubble.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That was probably, knee high, if that. You know, and I was probably doing 50 k's because I just bought a new Hyundai, and I was going on the dirt, and it was pretty slippery, that part. And I looked right. It was on my side. I was driving. I looked to the right, and it popped its head up and looked straight at me, and I just like, fuck, I thought big wild cat. First thing, like the first second, like wild cat. Like I said, mate, check the size of this wild, and then there was like, what? Automatically knew it wasn't a wild cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it didn't flinch. It just had its ears, and the ears were pointed facing towards me. You know what I mean? They weren't to the side or anything like that. Now a dog will prod its ears up and they're pointing towards you, open, and it just stared at me. And I sort of put my foot on the brake and slowed probably down to 20, 30 k's. It's like, whoa. And then it sort of went past. And I turned around and looked at my mate and I said, did you see that? And he goes, yeah. And it's like, by then we sort of drove past it a little bit. I sort of turn around and go and have a look at it. And my mate said, he said, no, just let it be, let it be, sort of thing. He's one of the guys, he's been up there for years, his family's probably one of the first families up there. He's like, no, just let it be, mate, And by looking at it, I think it might have been, I don't know how big they grow, but, I've bred dogs all my life, Staffies and Bull Terriers, and, just seeing pictures of him with the bigger nose, his nose wasn't as big, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And to look at it, I just had under the impression it was like a juvenile, like a yearling, 8-9 months or something. Like if I had to, who knows, it could have been fully grown, but I don't think so because it didn't have the head didn't look that big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the nose, it's sort of the size of a Staffy's head, sort of about that round.
Yep.
Maybe, like a small basketball, in plastic size ones you get from Big W, the easy ones, sort of about that size. It wasn't very big anyway, the head.
Yeah.
But it was way too big to be a cat. It wasn't, what stood out to me is the ears sort of looked sort of rounded
Yep.
as well.
They weren't pointing up.
Yeah, they were up, standing up, but they weren't pointed, they were rounded.
Yep.
Yeah, so like that's what just sticks in my mind. That's what stood out to me, and the colour, the darker colour around its like face and that.
Okay, so what was the colour of it? Do you recall?
It was, I don't know, blacky browny sort of colour. It was a while ago. It was, but you know what I mean. It was like like a light sort of thing, just that come in around sort of the nose and under the face, the face sort of bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were around 22 or something, that would have made it around 1995 or something like that, 94?
Working out, whatever, I'm 48 now, so yeah, well, you'd have to do the math,
So you're born in 73?
I'm trying to work it out. It was 99, maybe 97. What'd you say? 90s?
Were you born in 73?
Yeah, 73.
Yep. So
the first one I seen was when I was 17, and the next one would have been when I was 21.
Okay, so it was early 90s, 92, 93.
Yeah. But the second one was that was the one that was running up the hill. That's the road that, if you go into Mainland, on the way to Mainland, before you get to Watolda, there's a turn off to the right, which is called the Gap. Takes you down to the Gap, out of Cape Elizabeth.
Yep.
A lot of people go camping and that down there.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, so we were coming up that dirt track, and there's a part of the road where you're sort of coming up the hill, and like we were shooting out there, and it was on the road, and it was we had the spotlight and we spotted it, and we had the car lights, and we accelerated to try and catch up with it, right? And it just started running, and like my mate was planting it, and it was as if it was taking off, beating us. It was the thing could run, eh?
Yep.
And as we were getting closer, we were catching up on it because we were a fair bit away at the start. It didn't try to run off into the paddock. It just kept running in a straight line. It didn't stop and turn around and look at us or nothing. It just ran in a straight line for a fair distance too. You know what I mean?
So like 100 metres or more?
Oh, probably more than that. Probably, yeah, a few hundred metres, yeah.
Because you were a fair way from it.
Yeah. And as we were gaining, we sort of come to the rise, and it went over the rise, and then the time we come over the rise, it was gone, and then we're looking in the paddock, and as you know, you got the mallees, trees on each side of the track, and then there's wheat paddocks, so, but we couldn't find it after that. But it didn't turn around. But when that run, it sort of run in its arse end, sort of, it was weird, like bounced sort of like a kangaroo sort of thing. I don't know. It was different to a normal dog running.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was strange. Yeah.
So you would say that the gait on it was different to anything else you'd seen like that sort of thing, like on four legs?
Yes. Yeah, it was different. The arse end was different. Yeah, totally. Yeah, like the way it ran was different. You know, we've chased foxes before, and we've seen dogs before that run totally different to a fox or a dog.
Okay.
You know, and usually, you know, and there was no farm. You know, it could have been a stray dog, for instance, but the nearest farmhouse was miles away, and a dog would usually stop and turn around, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And if it was a dog, it would have had to be a greyhound, a fast one, as well.
Yeah, okay.
I've seen foxes run pretty fast when we're shooting them, but even still, it was faster than a fox or any dog, and it was running uphill. So,
could you see any other distinguishing features about it that made you think it was a thylacine?
There was like dark patches on the back.
Like stripes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, under spotlight, you couldn't say, you know, perfectly, but it damn well looked like it, you know what I mean? Like, as far as I'm concerned, after seeing that second one, I am 100% the first one was one, you know what I mean?
Yeah. In regards to that gate, you said you watched Paul Day's video, was the gate similar to that, only faster?
Well, when it was going across the paddock?
Yeah, the sunrise one.
It looked similar to that one. It was different, you know, like, because I've seen it from behind, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's a completely different angle.
Yeah, like, I felt as if his arse end was more bigger, if I was to say, you know what I mean?
Okay, yep. So it was broader across the hips.
Yeah, sort of, broader, sort of even a little, you know, maybe even a bit higher, but it was sort of like springy, sort of bouncy run, you know what I mean?
Yep. So it's almost like they're hopping with the back feet but running with the front feet.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Not a lot different than a rabbit when a rabbit takes off.
Yeah. It's, we'll put it this way, we've shot hundreds of foxes, you know, I mean hundreds of foxes are out there, and it doesn't run nothing like a fox, and it's different to a dog. Hey, it's sort of, if anything, it's got a sort of like a spring to it.
In the rear end.
Yeah. That's the way I see it.
How many of you were in the car that night?
Four of us.
And you all took note of what you were trying to catch up to?
Yeah. Oh, mate, we had guns out. We know, like, you know, like, we were like, catch up with it, come on, flounder, you know what I mean? Like, because we thought it was a fox.
Yep.
And it was like, you know, wow. That ain't a fox, what was that? And like, you know, like, it was just something I didn't see, and it wasn't until I seen the second one that when I looked back on that first experience, and it was like, that's what I seen. You know what I mean? It's sort of, you know what I mean? You put two and two together.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I think someone might even joked in the car that's you know, one of them, and you know what I mean. Like, but back then I was only 17, and I didn't really think much of it. You know what I sort of.
Yeah, because you're just out with your mates, goofing off.
Yeah, I knew it was something different and strange, but then it was on to the next experience when I actually seen one. The one I've seen on the pasture track is like, I don't care what anyone says, man. I take a lie detector test and everything. I know what I saw, you know. It was one guaranteed, 100%. Yeah. No mistake. And it wasn't, you know, it was an overcast day, about 4 in the afternoon. It was 30 feet away from me. You know, I wish I'd stopped the car and actually turned around because I reckon, you know, if it wasn't a fully grown, it might have been a younger one. It might have been able to catch it even, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it didn't run away. It just stood up and just stared at it. Like its head just popped up.
Yeah.
You know, if I was to say it was lying down, you know how a dog lies down with its feet in front of it on its stomach? And it just lifted its head up and just stared with its ears. The ears were turned pointing at me as well.
Yeah.
You know? And it just kept eye contact with me until I drove past and sort of went out of my neck bending range. And then I slowed down and that's what I said to my mates. Shit, see that, you know? Yeah,
So living in Tassie now and thinking back about that, does it seem a little bit unusual that they're on the mainland, or you know?
Well, I've heard people say, I've seen stuff in the paper over the years, and mate, like, I believe they're on the mainland, and I believe they're still probably here, you know? It's just the strange thing I think is with where I see them is why haven't a lot more other people seen them? Because there's just wheat paddocks and there's not that much places to hide.
Yeah, well, the good thing about South Australia and Yorke Peninsula in particular is that coastal vegetation is very well intact.
All the sand hills and that,
yeah. Yeah, so you've got your coastal heathland all the way down to Innis, and there's a few other reasonable patches down near Innis where those salt lakes are and stuff as well. So there's even though there's not a lot of cover, there's enough cover.
Yeah, well, even that Moons Bay, like where I'm from, even all the sand hills between there and to the point out near Wallaroo, and then you got the other side of Port Hughes, and that's where it runs. That's where we've seen that other one.
Yep.
And then you go through Balgowan, and then you like you said, there's patches all the way.
Well, we were out at Cape Elizabeth only, it'd be 3 years ago now, 3.5 years ago, and we met up with a couple of young lads that were camped out there, and they seen 2 of them.
Did they?
Yeah, out at Cape Elizabeth, and they were just.
That's where I seen my first one.
Yeah, they were only messing around in 4-wheel drives up in the sand hills there, just having a bit of a party and stuff, and. The guy that seen it in the morning, he was only, 15 feet from it, and he startled it, and it startled him, and they both sort of shit at themselves, and it went one way and he went the other. So, and that was broad daylight up in those sand hills there, so, that's
the same as I saw the first one. On the road to the gap, you turn off the bitumen, you leave Greener, go past the cemetery.
Yep.
And then you hit that dirt road.
Yep.
That dirt road I seen the first one.
Yeah, no, that's not unusual at all. The interesting thing is we found some really old stuff from about 1919, I think it was, where there was a striped female wolf type animal that was shot. It was caught in a rabbit trap eventually. It was stealing sheep. And a farmer slept out waiting for it for about a month. And it finally turned up at this dam he had. And that was Willamulka, I think, over near Willamulka. And he finally caught this thing and shot it. And it was meant to have gone to the South Australian Museum. And they found its young. There was apparently, along the railway line out there was a bridge. There was a bit of a flood or some heavy rains, and they found its young drowned underneath this bridge. So it was a female.
Yeah.
And, of course, the as the story goes, no one knows anything about where it ended up or what happened to the pelt or anything like that. But, that's over 100 years ago. So these things have always been around. It's just, these stories tend to get lost in the ether, like the evidence of them existing tends to disappear in the ether,
Oh, that's it. Well, I've seen them 20 years ago, and then what's his name? Your mate, the school teacher.
Yep.
When was that? That was like,
that was only 5 years ago now.
Yeah, 5 years ago, and then you've seen the boys the last couple of years, so obviously they're still there.
Yeah. Oh, they're there, and I think they come down from the Flinders as well.
Migrate, you reckon?
Yeah, I do. I think the Flinders Rangers has probably fed that area with more juveniles to claim territory forever. I think that's always been the case.
Quite easily they could follow you, come through the hills, through Lockhill.
Exactly. Over the hummocks. Yep. Plenty of country to sleek through there without getting seen.
Coastal areas and stuff,
And then you go over the other side of the Gulf, and they're seen around Port Lincoln and Tumby Bay and out near.
Out there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, and again, it's just you got to dig around. But the more you dig, the more you learn, and the more of these sightings and these people that see them tend to pop up and come forward with their stories. So it's
more on the mainland than there is here, I'd say.
There is, mate. Yeah. There is, without a doubt. But talk to a scientist about it, and they'll just tell you you're an idiot, basically. But you are one of literally hundreds of people that have talked to me about Thylacine sightings on the mainland in the last 7 years, and there are over 5,000 documented sightings on the mainland.
Yeah. So my area where I grew up, where I see mine, that's sort of a hot spot, and obviously.
Yeah, it is. They tend to be up around the Moon to Maitland, and they do tend to head over towards Ardrossan a bit as well. There's a few sightings out that way. Some interesting footprints been found out that way as well.
Yeah. A lot of rabbits there too.
Yeah, and they're known to eat rabbits. I've got at least 3 sightings of them stealing rabbits from rabbit traps over the years.
Yeah.
One of those was in the Flinders Ranges as well. So, I think the thing what people don't realise is that predators are very, very adaptable, and they're hunters. They're cunning,
Oh, of course.
Herbivores get knocked off pretty quick with foxes and stuff, but predators are a little bit more, adaptable. Have you ever heard of a thing called a marsupial lion?
No.
So that's meant to have been extinct for 10,000 years. Well, a fella from Yorke Peninsula got in touch with me only about a month ago and gave me a sighting of one of them on Yorke Peninsula.
Yeah.
And that was only about 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And this thing tried to get his cat in his driveway. He said he doesn't know exactly what it was, but the only thing he could come up with was that it was a Thylacine marsupial lion. He said it looked just like that. So, you got to take people on face value, I guess.
Well, the thing is, about 5 years ago, I pulled out of Monmouth Street at Moona Bay, where my family home is, right?
Yep.
And I got to the street corner, we're just near the beach, and this is like 2, 3 in the morning. I was heading up to Queensland, and I nearly run over a kangaroo, mate. Right?
Yeah.
On the past Kadina, there's been a few hit there, and there's been a few more signs of kangaroos in around the town. But growing up as a kid, you never saw a kangaroo. They were nearly hunted out of extinction. And now you actually see emus coming down on the Yorke Peninsula and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's a bit more wildlife than what there used to be.
You know what I mean? No one's been out there shooting everything.
Yeah, and there's plenty of wombats out there still too.
Yeah, possums as well. Like we didn't see possums growing up as kids, and now there's possums there as well, and wombats. Everything's coming back, sort of. Yeah, but just using the kangaroo, for instance, you'd never. I lived there for 20 years and never seen a kangaroo in the Moonta area. There was a patch between Maitland and Moonta that a farmer had left a bit of mallee scrub for them.
Yep.
They were the only ones known, but no other kangaroos, but now they're all around. But, so obviously, people are not going out there shooting like years ago. Anyone go out, we just go out to dirt tracks shoot. Everyone go shooting on the weekend. That was our thing.
Yep.
You know. So.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting, Chris. I appreciate your time, mate.
Yep, that's cool. Yep.
Now, this recording that I've done, you got no problem with me putting that on a YouTube channel?
Oh, mate, do what you want with it.
No, cool.
Yeah.
People love hearing these stories.
Yeah, nah, mate, I know what I saw, 100%. So,
Awesome.
I've thought about it plenty of times over the years, and I was watching the show on ABC, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to get hold of that guy.
Oh, well, I'm glad you did. Well, I'm out in the northeast of Tassie, so if you ever come for a cruise out this way, give us a hoy and we'll catch up.
No, that'd be great, mate. We'll go out and check some stuff out.
Yeah, no, awesome.
Excellent. All right, mate. Have a good night, and yeah.
All right, good on you, Chris. Thanks for your time, mate. Appreciate it.
Good luck with everything, eh?
Yeah, you too. Cheers.
Righto.
Ta-da.
Bye.